management lecture. Today we are giving the lecture, 21st lecture. This lecture being organized by Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Madras, and GCRF Clean Environment Planetary Health Asia Network, and also recently started Air Quality Management Association. I am very pleased to welcome you all to the lecture, and it's a great pleasure to have with us today the eminent person in Karnataka state who is supporting the various environmental issues, Srinivasalu IFS, and Member Secretary of Karnataka State Pollution Control Board, Government of Karnataka. Go to the next slide. Welcome you, sir. So the goals of this CEPHA network is 5 pillars. We look at knowledge exchange, the engagement with the community, and also establish a networking with the various stakeholders in the society, and empowerment, and also bring the innovative solutions. Next. So the key objectives, the engagement, when you talk about, we all try to engage the researchers, citizens, policymakers, health sector, industry, the various personnel which are involved in the environmental aspect will be part of this. Then we also try to identify what works. In sometimes a particular area, certain things can be worked, and it may not workable in other place, but we will try to explore what is working. So what is the key challenges, and is there any barriers? Are there any enablers in developing and application of innovative solutions? And we also strengthen the cooperation between the various stakeholders, and also important to have capacity building and capabilities. So we are also working towards that, and of course we also look for generating the resources through various joint research projects. Next. So these are all some of the CEPHA initiatives. We have started a quarterly newsletter. So his name is Prakruti, and we invite various articles to publish related to the environment. Then CEPHA, we have a documentaries which discuss about various compositions of the environmental issues, and in fact we made a documentary on solid waste management, particularly for the school children. Then on several community activities, including art workshop, and also the drawing competitions, panel discussions, workshops, symposium, and also collaborative research publications. Next. So these are all, recently we also started Air Quality Management Association, and this has been inaugurated by the chairman of Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board and our director, Professor Kamakoti. This we have, as a part of the World Environment Day, so on June 6th we have inaugurated this, and Professor Mukesh Kare is the chairman for this Air Quality Management Association. Next. So we, as a part of this air quality management issues, we already started Air Quality Management Conference. We call it as Indian International Conference on Air Quality Management, AQML 2022, which focus on measurement, modeling, health risk assessment, and public policies, which is going to held in 29th November to 1st December 2022 in Chennai, IIT Madras. So we will welcome you all to that. And in this conference, we are also focusing on training some children, particularly the college students, on source apportionment, modeling, and health risk. So we welcome you all to this conference and the other events. Next. So this air quality management lecture series is a very unique kind of event in the country. We started this in October 2020. It's an important forum for young researchers, scientists, engineers, and educators, and also policymakers to share and exchange the knowledge between the different communities. Also provide this as a platform to understand what is happening there and advance instrumentation of technology that required for addressing the air pollution. And it also helps to collaborate with the various stakeholders. Next. So these are all our key air quality speakers in the past, air quality speakers, eminent speakers. We started this lecture with B. Sengupta ji. Go to the next. Go to the next. Yeah, so the last lecture was given by Professor Sen Tripathi from IIT Kanpur. Now, today's lecture will be given by Dr. Srinivasalu IFS. I request Gopika to introduce the speaker.
Okay. A very good afternoon to everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce the speaker for the day, Mr. Srinivasalu IFS. He is currently the Member Secretary, Karnataka State Pollution Control Board, Government of Karnataka. He has secured gold medal in BSc Agriculture and second rank in his Masters. He earned a PhD degree from Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. He secured 10th rank at all India level in IFS examination for the year of 1997. He is a distinctive person who has always advocated the preservation of wildlife and environment. He is also a recipient of many distinguished awards and recognitions and was conferred the prestigious Karnataka State Environment Award for the year 2015. In the last 2 years, he has been instrumental in implementing several micromanagement plans for improving the urban environment. The talk for today is titled Air Quality Management and Health Risk, where he will be sharing his views and experiences on the efforts taken and challenges faced in implementation in non-agricultural cities of Karnataka. Sir, we welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Gopika. Sir, over to you. Thank you very much for your time and.
Good afternoon, CEPHA. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for giving me some opportunity to share a few thoughts regarding air pollution, mitigative measures, and more than everything, the challenges we face in addressing this problem, especially from a regulatory point of view.
1 minute. Hello. Have you shared the slides, sir? Have you shared the slide?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we are having a series of lectures on air pollution, so I really don't want to get into the technicalities of measurement, evaluation kind of a thing, but then from what are the challenges from a regulatory point of view, everybody knows the problem, but then to address this problem, what are the different challenges and other things, I would like to focus on that. Interestingly, when I was preparing some slides, some information to put forth, consolidate some thoughts, just 2 days back, there is a news article in India Today, Times of India, which says the lifespan of average Indian living in a prominent city is been getting reduced by around 7 to 10 years, recently. That means, and I don't want to name the city here, which is very alarming. Okay, it's a slow death, and I don't see this message or this information catching the imagination of general public at large. That, see, if there is, you can imagine human values is, we value human values so much, life. If there is loss of one death, there is such hue and cry. And now we say that 7 years of average citizen living in that city is reduced by 10 years. You can imagine what is the loss of human life that we are talking, and I don't see any alarm. Okay, this is where the real issue is. Though the issue is so prominent, the public awareness, or we say that air guilt or air quality guilt in public is not very prominent. That is where both scientific community, regulatory communities, media at large, and everybody should speak a common language to bring forth this issue at public domain to find some solutions. Air pollution, I think we all know that contamination of air by noxious gases and particles. Here there are two things. One, harmful substances that are from different processes, and particulate matter, it could be solid or liquid, that could keep suspended in air because of urban lifestyles, that kind of a thing, which in turn reduces the life support system of air, which is very essential for very life to exist. Next. When that is the problem, I think we all know what are different causal agents for this. These are in public domain, urban activities, increased population, vehicular growth, fuel quality, industrial activities, transportation, and sometimes municipal solid waste burning here and there. So if you just look at the different causal agents, it is from the very fuel that we burn to cook our food to the advanced transport system that we engage to fly from a place A to B. So almost all different activities that we engage today, directly or indirectly, causing some concern as far as air quality is concerned. So it is not one problem and then one solution. The problem is very complex, and we have to find some solution to address this problem. Next. Okay, I don't get into this because I mentioned here what are the different ill health effects, but then the underlying point is it reduces lifespan of average Indian living in highly polluted cities. Now, what more message that you need to say that the air pollution indirectly and directly is reducing life support system capacity of air that actually are that we need for the life to sustain. Next. Thanks that in this scenario we should be thankful to Honorable Prime Minister, because in spite of all these issues, this issue of National Clean Air Program has been highlighted by him from Red Fort. That itself will signify what is the actual danger, and then how we should be, how all of us should be concerned about taking this program. So Government of India has launched a massive National Clean Air Program to really address this problem very effectively. In this, we see that the air quality, which has already been deteriorated, at least 20 to 30% we should get improvement by 2024, taking 2017 as a base year, which may be very ambitious goal, but then we all know that if we aim big, at least we'll achieve something. So Government of India, in right perspective, has set itself a very ambitious goal of reducing at least 20 to 30% of particulate matter emission by 2024. And it is actually on the track also. Like now, based on that, nearly 132 cities have been identified as non-attainment, and as far as Karnataka is concerned, 4 cities: Bengaluru, Hubli Dharwad, Davangere, and Kalburgi. In fact, almost all 4 zonal headquarters, revenue division headquarters in Karnataka are coming under non-attainment cities. And Government of Karnataka, engaging all different agencies, we have conducted a detailed study regarding finding the action plan to mitigate this problem. And for Bengaluru city, because of its size and complexity, we have around 44-point action plan, and then for all other cities, we have around 27 action points, which have been prepared in consultation with all the agencies involved, and it has been submitted to CPCB, and that is the starting point for which all the different wings of the government will be engaged. Next. Now, as you can imagine, almost all government agencies, starting from urban local bodies, BBMP, BWSSB, KSRTC, BMTC, BMRCL, even Food and Civil Service Department, Agriculture departments, every department has something to do or something to implement as far as this program is concerned. So the biggest challenge comes here is the interdepartmental cooperation, interdepartmental coordination becomes the key to if we want to see the results out of this. So Pollution Control Board will become a nodal agency that is who is vested with the responsibility of engaging all other government departments and inform them, educate them, make them aware, and sensitize them, and ensure that in their regular programs, the action plans that have been made will be incorporated in their regular budgetary programs and special programs, so that everybody are working towards a common goal, that is National Clean Air Program. Next. For that, before we embark on any such activities, first we should know where we stand. Okay, that is where comes our source apportionment studies, which is essential to know what is where we stand, what are the different pollutants, what is their magnitude, what are the causal agents, kind of a thing. And luckily in Karnataka, the source apportionment study has been completed for Bengaluru, and for rest of the other 3 cities, the task has been entrusted to IIT Madras to take up the study, and then actually they are doing it, and then very soon we will be getting similar source apportionment studies regarding all the other 3 cities. Here, KSPCB, luckily Karnataka has a good wherewithal when it comes to monitoring of the air quality situations. We have an elaborate network of continuous ambient air quality stations, manual stations, and number is totally around 31 such stations spread out throughout the state are giving us continuously real-time and real-time information about ambient air quality, which is really helping us so that when we go to public regarding the information, this is strengthening. Next. Okay. This is one of the most important thing. As I was mentioning, scientific study is one part, data analysis is another part, but the most important part is this information in simple terms, in easily understandable way, is communicated to public at large, so that the common man will now appreciate or understands the seriousness of the issue. In fact, that is why I was telling, there has to be a concept of air guilt. People should know what is the quality of air that is around them. Though Bangalore is a big city, right now we are only telling air quality index of JP Nagar is this much, air quality index of Hebal is this much. This information should be available to public in their mobile phones, in their palm top, or this message should go through a radio or FM radio. In fact, I am of the opinion, and then we are pursuing towards that, like in weather report, air quality index should become an integrated part. That message is kept on informed to the general public at large, so that we may not believe. See, at the end of the day, if we want to find results and then some executable projects, this information of pollution and all other things, first they should get into public domain. People should know, everyone should know what is happening, and then what is the real problem. Only when there is alarm in public, only when there is alarm, then people start discussing, debating. And believe me, in a democratic setup, public opinion is government manifest. Okay, even when we see political parties making some programs, it's not from something that from the research studies they make their manifest and then come out with programs. What is there in public domain, public discussion, will become raw material or information for political parties to make their agendas or manifests, and this manifests will become the government programs when the party comes to power. So this is very important point I want to emphasize here, that National Clean Air Program objectives, everything, apart from being discussed in academic circles, this should get percolated down to public domain. In fact, these issues should become election issues. Okay, so that is when we will be able to achieve the target that we are setting 20 to 30% by 2024. Next. Now, when we have an elaborate network of continuous ambient air quality stations and then manual stations, both by board as well as by industries here and there, we know, I think the basic objective is to identify what is the pollutant, what is the quality, and then how much the pollution load is there at different seasons, kind of a thing. Okay, so monitoring becomes a very important tool in implementing this program very successfully. I think sometimes it can be simply told, it's like a pathology, it is like a radiology in medical field, where unless otherwise you diagnose the problem correctly, then solution, you can never get into solution. So Pollution Control Board is bestowed with that responsibility of actually pinpointing, what is the problem, where is the source, and how effective our pollution control equipments or measures that we are planning. So luckily KSPCB has an elaborate network of already available monitoring mechanisms, and that is really helping us in implementing this program and engaging with other government agencies when it comes to interacting with them. Next. So this is, I had put just a journey of how it happened. In fact, when you see hardly some 30 years back, we just had 2 such stations. Today we have 31 such stations. In fact, this year we have added to our kit another 8 stations, 4 in Bangalore and then 4 outside Bangalore in other districts. So maybe unlike other states, the state has elaborate network of ambient air quality monitoring stations, which is really helping the cause. Next. So this I was mentioning, where based on this data, now we have come out with a clear-cut action plan for different department wise, what is to be done. Just Bangalore, now I was mentioning regarding around 44-point action plan, and then Hubli, Dharwad, Kalburgi and Davangere, 24-point action plan. You just see the list of departments that are required to be engaged in the programs if the program has to be successful, starting from agriculture department, smart city to BBMP and local bodies. So this becomes a real challenge as well as an opportunity, because multidisciplinary in government, we see there is one problem in government where each government operates by its own rules, by its own budget, by its own government orders or circulars. So government many times operates in silos. But here is one issue where it is all pervasive resource and this life support system. So all the support or cooperation of all different wings of government will have to engage effectively if we want to see the results. I think that is one of the major challenge in this program. Next. This I was mentioning, I think, the objective emission inventory and source apportionment study, which I have mentioned already. Next. So, in fact, when we get into when we are getting into the source apportionment study, it's a very elaborate network. In fact, thank you that we have entrusted this job to IIT Madras to do all the hard part of engaging with the different departments and then collecting primary data, secondary data, starting from DG sets to fuels, constructions, aviation, industries, n number of things. And it's a very Herculean task just to collect this primary data and secondary data from all these people and compute it to find out what is the real source of pollutant, where it is coming, how its seasonal variation, and then what are the different point sources that are mapped on the city map, so that the information is now easily available and presented in such a way that common man can understand it and engage himself in the program. Next. This slide, after doing all that hard work, I'm just putting some stats of Bangalore. You just see, okay, when it comes to PM10, transportation is the biggest sector that is responsible, and second is road dust and C&D. If you just take only these major three, nearly 70%, 65 to 70% of PM10 is accountable for these three things. And in fact, COVID was one example where for 2 years Bangalore had come to standstill, okay, and suddenly like sky is clear, okay, Neel Gagan, okay, and in fact that became that's it's an eye opener for all of us, that if even today, many a times many of us may not know if situation improves how beautiful or how wonderful life around would be. And COVID gave one example in spite of all its ill effects. One example as far as air quality is concerned, because of that zero transportation for some time, the air quality suddenly improved, and it gave us a hope, or it gave us something to cheer that if we implement this NCAP program in its right earnest and reduce the air quality pollutants, where will we be heading? Here I think I have one cause of concern, C&D waste. In fact, this is one of the major component for PM10, and unlike other wastes like water act, air act, hazardous act, and then plastic kind of a thing, C&D rules is a recent entry into the big list of different rules, and still many urban local bodies have to come to terms with implementation of the C&D rules. That though it's very simple, where any activity that is generating C&D waste more than 20 tons per day, that agency has to provide provide standard operating procedures and plan, get it certified with the urban local body, that where this C&D waste is transported, where it is processed, and the processed C&D waste can provide valuable raw materials for other construction activities, and it can be recycled. So though the concept is very simple, but because of its recent entry, C&D waste still has not got the imagination of many urban local bodies to implement Like, I know people still talk of this source segregation here and there, but C&D waste still. So Bangalore being one of the fastest growing city in the world, C&D waste is becomes a biggest limiting factor. That is where we are really in touch with public bodies and then urban local bodies, BBMP, to implement C&D waste, C&D rules in letter and spirit, and that can definitely give us good results. When it comes to PM 2.5, I think we all can imagine, burning is a major this one. So vehicular pollution, then waste burning, then DG sets. These three becomes major contributing factors, and this study also is telling us the concentrated DG sets, and thanks to the recent CPCB circular where the retrofitting of DG sets has been made mandatory above 100 kV. Now the DG sets has to be provided with mandatory retrofitting. So all these measures are only going to help us in addressing this problem. Next. Now, when we know what is the real major pollution load, then if we see what is the source contribution, okay, here we were mentioning different departments. So here comes transportation, soil and road trust, urban local bodies, then LPG, DG sets of industries, construction trust from urban local bodies, then fuel, there comes the transport department, then wood combustion, it comes in agriculture department. So if you see this, almost all different departments that we had mentioned, 44-point action plan, then 24-point action plan across various departments. So those activities will come in picture here. What is the source? This is again, even if you look at this here, road dust and transportation, as far as PM10 is concerned, transportation, road dust, and some SOx. But this is where for PM 2.5, when it comes to SOx, this is the industrial activities that are interspersed in residential areas that we see in these nowadays in major urban habitations are the real problems. So understanding the source and understanding the scale of its contribution in total pollution load for both PM10 and PM 2.5 are basic indicators, starting point for us to take up these programs and then suggest any remedial measures. Next. This slide is very interesting. Okay, in fact, vehicle is one, transportation is one, but then when we dive deep into this issue, what are the different vehicles and then what is their contributions? So here, though we see the number of vehicles, two-wheelers are around 90%, but their contribution to the pollution load is around 67%, whereas HCVs, heavy commercial vehicles, though the number of vehicles in the total vehicular pool of around 1 crore in Bangalore is very less, but their contribution to the pollution load is 56%. So instead of we concentrating our efforts on sometimes on mass transport or actions to reduce number of vehicles plying on the road, but single effort of addressing this problem of heavy commercial vehicles movement in city. This is both for public transport as well as for transportation for industrial purposes and goods, transportation of goods. This can really solve this problem nearly 56%. It's a real eye-opener for government agencies that where our efforts first priority of effort we should be putting, so that results will become very fast. Next. Yeah, I was putting one slide here. Here you just see in last 40 years, the 50 years, the number of vehicles have increased from almost 0.7 lakhs to now 88 lakhs. That is nearly 90 to 100 times the number of vehicles have increased in Bangalore. Everybody talks of Bangalore traffic, Bangalore this vehicular issues. So these vehicles, then one is number, second is their bifurcation, and the average speed in city roads. All three things are real issues, and then we are in touch with the transport department, sensitizing them about these stats, so that they will be taking remedial measures. I'll come to remedial measures in future, but then these are the issues. Next. Then this is another slide. This just I wanted to put forth here, that how our urban habitations or urban conglomerations have changed just over 50 years. Okay, how much the paved surface increased, how much there is reduction in green cover, then the status of lakes. So these are realities before us, and in these realities, we have to implement this National Clean Air Program and reduce 20 to 30% of the pollution load and improve the quality of air. It becomes a real challenge. Next. Solid waste, yeah. Bangalore on average collects around 5,000 tons per day, and of that easily 3,000 tons become wet waste, and another 2,000 tons become dry waste. Handling of this waste becomes very important if we have to implement this NCAP in letter and spirit, and BBMP is making its efforts in this direction by improving the source segregation, increasing the capacity of treatment capacities, and making efforts to ensure that the processing plants operate at full capacity, minimum use of landfill. But then these numbers are very alarming, and then the stats are not very encouraging. This will become one important issue for board to engage BBMP to handle solid waste properly and reduce its open burning, if at all we have to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves. Next. So this is another slide, like vehicles, same comparison here. Luckily, I think we should be happy that the LPG network in cities nowadays is much better. Okay, every households are using this, but even then, there is some portion of energy consumption that is used by coal in industries and by vehicles, and that is one component which is contributing nearly 96% of the pollution load. Okay, in PM10. So here I think now board has earmarked one important activity where board has taken lead of engaging discourse between the LPG provider, it could be GAIL or such agencies, with industrial associations, so that the LPG and other PNG gas that is already available in the industrial areas is effectively used by industries, maybe by making small alterations in their power source, by altering or retrofitting their machines or machinery, so that their energy bill is reduced, plus they contribute towards improving air quality. Next. This is, I just was putting this stat here, the seasonal variations of PM10 as expected. All of us, I think during monsoon, definitely the PM10 concentrations in air comes down overall, whereas the problem will be more in summer and winter. Unlike many other cities, I think still Bangalore is better placed, but then the efforts of all of us still to improve the air quality in Bangalore and other three cities in the states. Next. So similarly, PM2.5 status in seasonal variation. This also we can expect, as expected, the during monsoon, the air quality is better than other seasons. Next. Now, I would like to spend some more time when it comes to recommendations, and then what actually we are doing, and then what are the challenges, having known the reasons, causal agents, and other things. Next. Next one. So here, these are the specific action points that board is contemplating with the different wings of the government. When it comes to Bengaluru Development Authority, we are suggesting them to engage, to establish truck terminals in all major highways. As I already mentioning you that HCVs, heavy commercial vehicles, are contributing nearly 56% of the pollution load as far as PM10 is concerned. So establishing truck terminals on major highways, preventing them entering the city and then move, and their mobility in city can definitely reduce and then can give good results. Then create separate bus base. We all know that mass transport system to that extent will help a number of vehicles plying on the roads, and per capita generation of either PM10 or PM2.5 comes down drastically. So now BDI is coming out with separate bus base in this direction. Then increase green cover. Though over the years the green cover in Bangalore is getting reduced, but at least in this program under an NCAP, planting is been made an important component, and BDA and then BBMP, we are asking them to put up a exclusive department in BBMP with the forest officers in the forest department, so that the planting program in city takes a real flip, and then it will be emphasized. Then other major thing will be like BMRCL, and as we all can imagine, like thanks that now metro rail is getting real traction, and then the capacity is increasing, the usage is increasing, and more people are using metro rails. We have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then by 2024 we are hopeful that the targets that BMRCL has set for Bangalore will be completed. And as we know, I think only when the rail route is complete, when from end to end, the usage of this among public will get real push up. Otherwise, part connectivity may not really help. So that is where we are now. With the completion of BMRCL network in Bangalore, definitely it will really help in achieving our NCAP targets. And BMRCL is one agency which CND West, this I was mentioning. So now here in Bangalore under NGT special committee, we are engaging different agents, like metro rail is one, then even railway department is another one. So now we are going department wise, so that the CND rules, 2016 rules, are made aware to those people, and we will ask them to implement this CND rules while they execute this program. So, construction dust in city while doing BMRCL can be a big nuisance. So we are in touch with them, and then that's one of the touch point when it comes to NCAP. Next. Then Food and Civil Department, yes, the adulteration of fuel is one of the biggest issue when it comes to the quality of air exhaust, that is after the fuel is burned. Now, luckily, the problem is not that dangerous or enormous as it was maybe some 10-15 years back. Adulteration of fuel with kerosene, that kind of a thing. Today we don't see that, but still this is one of the action point where periodically the inspection of these petrol bunks, then ensuring that pollution under control certificates for these vehicles, then phasing out of old vehicles more than 15 years old. Those measures we are in touch with different transport department and here with the Food and Civil Department, which towards this. Then KSPCB, as I was mentioning, that one is conduct source apportionment study. As I was mentioning, it has already been done for Bengaluru and then for all other three cities under the progress. Then continuously strengthen our ambient air quality monitoring network, and in fact we have created a separate air quality monitoring cell in head office, where the data from all the ambient air quality monitoring stations and from few private industrial stations, the data is received at the head office, and we are pushing this data through our website at present, and we have our dedicated mobile app, KSPCB, and this air quality data is now made available to public domain, not the touch of a button. So it is only an effort towards making the air quality issues more and more open and transparent in public domain. Next. BESCOM, yeah, I think this will be another where if the power supply is continuous, to that extent usage of DG sets will come down. Okay, luckily at present the state is power surplus state, unlike maybe some 10 years back. So if the lesser the power cuts and then continuous supply of power, to that extent that DG sets will come down and then air pollution problems will come down. Then another bigger major agency will be BMTC, like phasing out of vehicles from BS3 to BS4, then usage of e-vehicles. In fact, recently BMTC has procured 6,000 electric vehicles, and they have started moving in city, which is a real push towards achieving the goal of NCAP. And recently even government of Karnataka has come out with a EV policy where EV charging stations will be put up in all government offices wherever there is provision and then availability of space, and BESCOM will give power supply to such charging stations so that we can give push to EV vehicles in public. It could be EV car, EV two-wheeler and other things. So like this, it's a multidisciplinary approach where apart from their regular services or activities that department is doing, those services will have to be molded towards the cause of NCAP, and that is the real issues, challenge as far as regulatory agencies is concerned, so that the objectives and goals of NCAP are achieved in time. In fact, one good thing is the ambitious goal that the government of India has set, and second important thing is the second subsequent release of finances is based on performance. Okay, it's not that for 4 years there is some budget and then every year you get money. No. First installment Government of India is released. Before they release second installment, the state government has to show incremental progress. Only then against the performance, the second installment will come, and it is very interesting scheme, unlike general many other schemes where a project is there, budget is there, and then it is released and then government spends for public. But here it is performance based incremental release of subsequent installments of this NCAP is very interesting program. And then Karnataka government and KSPCB is geared up to implement this program in its letter and spirit. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Next.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very informative and nice talk, which will generally we will only see from the academicians and also from the researchers giving air quality management talk. But as a regulator, your views completely throw lights on the various challenges the urban air quality, urban areas are facing. Now, I request all of you, if you have any questions, please use the chat box. Before that, I thought I request everyone to start your camera so that we'll have an opportunity to take one group picture, and then sir will going to answer some of your questions. You can also join us.
Hello.
Please use the chat for. Please use the chat box for the questions. Okay.
Yeah, I have said about the SD.
Okay. Use the chat box for the questions. Yeah, please everybody start your camera so that we can quickly take one photo. Okay, Swarup, you are ready? Swarup or Ashwin?
Yes, sir. I am taking it.
Okay, good. Okay. So please, all of you just type your questions to the chat so that we will avoid all the issues also arising with the microphones.
Taken, sir.
Professor Tanu Dindal, you can type your questions in the chat box so that it will be beneficial. Everybody can read your questions. So maybe we can start discussing. Sir, you might be, okay, there's a question from, so involvement of line department and implementing action plans are the major challenges, I think, which is everybody looking for that. How KSPCB is coordinating with BBMP implementing all the action plans?
Yeah. No, it's a challenge, but it's not very difficult because now engaging the Institute of Repute, like IIT Madras and then CSTEP. Now, when we have a source apportionment data, and we conducted dissemination workshops with different department heads. In fact, we are going to the department, like it could be BBMP or BMRCL, go and tell what are your programs. In those programs, please incorporate these suggestions so that in your activities, the objectives of NCAP are met. For example, like BMTC. Though EV policy is there, but then now we were pushing for higher budget in their EV programs. then ensure better quick purchase of those EV vehicles, engage charging stations. So it is only by engaging with different departments, only then we'll be able to do this. Now by these workshops and other things, maybe at a higher level we can communicate ideas, communicate information. But believe me, each department works in silos. Okay, the metro person, we know how to construct metro rail and then how fast he can complete the job. He will not know what is its impact on air pollution. Definitely not. He is not even expected to know also. That is where KSPCB is conducting dissemination workshops with different agencies, and so that the message is percolated down into the department. That is the only way that we can do, and then we are at it.
So there is one question related to source apportionment study. Generally, source apportionment study based on as a regulator, the duration of the source apportionment study should be looking at only during the critical period, or we should look at it the entire season, where we try to look at it monsoon, winter, and summer. And generally, in any environmental impact assessment, we would give more emphasis on to carry out entire season activities. The other question is, sometimes if you want to initiate for the smaller cities, cost component is also coming to picture. So do you have any suggestion on this aspect?
Okay, yeah, given my personal opinion, I think of course in rainy season it will be better. So conduct study either for summer or winter one season, just to get a pulse of it. Okay, and knowing that we can take up the problems that may cut down cost and reduce the time and workload also. But then okay, if we are in a fast forward mode, okay, definitely we can resolve to this scenario of having the study for a season, get data and then move on. But if we conduct a comprehensive study for all the seasons, we definitely will get a better data, and then we will be better equipped. Okay, so that any mistakes, errors that can creep up in computation, creep up in collection of data can be addressed, and then they get highlighted, exposed. So we didn't face such scenarios. Bangalore being major, I think that source apportionment study is already complete. So I don't know, if we do it for one season, 2 season, how much money or energy would have saved. But then now, because for other 3 cities now we have started the work, I am open to that idea, that if one season's data is giving us sufficient information, why not?
Thank you very much, sir. And there is one question. It's quite interesting to look at it. We know earlier we have centralized water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants, sewage treatment plants. Now we are moving towards the decentralization of this sewage treatment plant. Can this treated water can be utilized in addressing some of these challenges? How do we look at that issue?
Okay. Okay. Because the task was more on NCAP, only air, I didn't touch water. Okay. Otherwise, the issues of water are much more complex and interesting to discuss and then debate. Now, usage of STP water is a big opportunity for urban habitations. Just coming to Bangalore, every day we receive nearly 1440 mld of water, and immediately after usage you get 1000 million liters of treated water in Bangalore. Just imagine if this 1000 mld water is used for many secondary purposes, not just residential welfare associations using apartments. You can use it in road sweeping, cleaning. You can use it in parks. You can use it in agriculture, horticulture, nurseries. In fact, yesterday I was discussing with fire safety department, and then We are contemplating use of treated sewage by fire service department while extinguishing fire. Today they are using fresh water, which is which is criminal. We should not be using fresh water to dose fire. Okay, when treated water is available at plenty, that is one. We are in touch with them like that, engage in different. In fact, I can tell here. Now we are contemplating, and then very soon we will be having meeting with the people who has extra sewage treated water and the people who need treated water for many secondary purposes. And we have already developed a software called Tankerwala, where like a taxi platform service, where I want to go somewhere and then some taxi is there, I will engage and then go. Similarly here, through Tankerwala, we want to pool, register for next 6 months, for next 1 month, I need so much treated water. And then this supplier who is having that treated water will register and then say yes, he can provide. And then this Tankerwala software can be a mediator, engaging between supplier and demand, and improve usage of treated water in Bangalore. I think we are seriously looking at that. And once it is through, I'll come here, I'll come before you and then I'll share those successes. One more thing, maybe academicians here can look at and then take this idea. I'm putting it as a simple layman thought, where for any house, for anybody to use water properly and to get water in his tap, first he should lift water to his water tank. If simply water is there in your groundwater borewell, you will not be getting water in your tap. First it has to be pumped to the water tank, over a tank, then only you will get water. Now imagine Bangalore, the altitude of Bangalore is highest in Karnataka. Bangalore, for simply if you look at that, Bangalore can become your overhead water tank for state. Now anyhow for providing water, you are lifting water from Mysore and then you are spending energy and coming here. Once you have water at your overhead tank, okay, treated water can become a big advantage, because from there now you can send it to anywhere in Karnataka you want. You send it to Kolar, you send it to Tumkur, you send it to Chitradurga, you can send it anywhere. You just what need is pipe. Okay, so people should look at the water or sewage that is available in Bangalore, not just as a sewage, but if it is treated, it is water in our overhead water tank. Okay, and then we are pushing these ideas with BWMP. I think we are hopeful that.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interesting and new initiatives the KSPCB has started in addressing the water issues. Sir, in the follow-up question, there is also we have started looking into, because these treatment plants can also generate toxic gases and also the bioaerosols in particular. Do you think that there should be some kind of an standards or stringent measures to address these kind of things? Because sometimes if you look at it, activated sludge process itself can contribute large amount of bioaerosols to the ambient air, large amount of toxic gas to the ambient air. Earlier we were not looking at these are the cases, because now there are many decentralized wastewater treatment plants are there. And do we need to look at this as an, or do you think that this can be an issue in the urban areas?
Okay. No, I will be very open to academic inputs when it comes to what are the effects of centralized processing plant and decentralized processing plant. Me as member secretary, I am open to that. But then the present situation scenario is, first we should process. Now around 5,000 tons every day we generate. Of that 2,500 tons, I am simply littering in street. Okay, I am not able to utilize my processing plant potential 100%. So only when my processing capabilities are equal to the waste that I am generated, when I reach that stage that I am no more littering anything in public, then I think second level of fine tuning that, how now I can use the academic input, the research output to reduce these aerosols or reduce these pollutants getting there. But today, as I was mentioning earlier, today first address the problem. Now we are in a surgery mode. It is no more fine tune repair mode. It is a surgery mode. So that is when I think this kind of academic inputs at present, maybe we may not really receive it in the real intent with which actually you are putting forth. And I am looking for that day where such inputs, I think, we should be receiving and implementing.
There's one question, sir. What are the measures taken by KSPCB to control adulteration of fuel in the petrol pumps?
Okay. Yeah. Now it is in 2-3 ways where this message, now the Food and Civil Service Department, through our dissemination workshops, we are highlighting them, what is the importance of NCAP program and what is their role, and then what is the contribution of this adulterated fuel to the air pollution load, so that they should strengthen their network or vigilance or monitoring against adulteration, number one. Second is this pollution under control certificate stringency is increasing, and then Pollution Control Board also has mobile pollution under control monitoring vehicles, where randomly we are checking up the vehicles and then ensuring compliance, number two. Number three, very interesting, now the CPCB has come out with the petrol banks which are storing fuel, and then this also should be brought under consent net. Okay, either two, they were not under consent for establishment and operation net, and then recently CPCB has come out with direction like all these petrol banks also should come into control net. So then the vigilance of these petrol banks by Pollution Control Board for putting up prevention equipments, control measures will get strengthened. So that will also help in addressing this problem.
Last question, sir. Thank you very much for all extensive responding to the various because getting time from a regulator is a very, very challenging, and that's why there are so many questions have come to been asked in this form. Sir, this is a question from a very senior person, industrialist, worked almost, I can say he has worked in air quality more than 5-6 decades now. His question is, we have taken so many initiatives in controlling the emissions, but still it is not addressed. Do we need to look at any different strategy? Like, now we have adapted so many things. For example, we have made Bharat 1, Bharat 2, Bharat 4, but still vehicular pollution, still we are noticing it is not coming down. So do you think that do we need to go some different strategy, out of box strategy? As a regulator, you think that we should look at it?
Yeah, absolutely. See, many a times we run away from truth. Okay, like if you just see lake pollution, one issue. Everybody talks of lake pollution, so much hangama, noise, everything. But then, who is blamed? Industry. Industrial effluent is causing less pollution. That will be the headlines in the media. Okay, and now in Pollution Control Board will be after industries and then do all these things. But if you really do source apportionment study of lake pollution now, okay, how much industry is contributing, how much sewage is contributing, how much the other elements are contributing, I'll tell you, easily 80% will be contribution from urban local bodies, concentrated sewage. Maybe 10, 15, 20% is from industries. Now, by doing anything and everything on the industries, you will not be able to improve lake quality because 80% of the problem is from somewhere, we are not even admitting that problem. Can you see that domestic sewage is the real culprit for lake pollution? Can you put this in a headline in newspaper and then get away with that? No, we don't admit the truth, though we know it. In fact, COVID was one such year where air quality has improved. Everybody sees, I think all industries, everything is closed, and then air quality has improved. So they are the major culprits. I told, okay, fine, come to water. Has lake quality improved? No. In fact, lake quality worsened those times. Now, now industries have closed. Now lake quality is worsened. Then who is the culprit?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the results are obvious, but many times we don't admit the truth. So similarly here, it is true that see, even I think he was mentioning about 30-40 years. In that, I'll tell you that is why. Even our Water Act, Air Act, which were promulgated 40, 50, 1970s, even in those acts, they never ever thought that domestic sewage or urban habitation itself will be a cause of water pollution, air pollution. All their rules, everything is looking industrialization as the major culprit of pollution. That is why laws are there, regulators are there, and then even punishment also. You see, what is the maximum punishment that pollution control board can impose on a polluter? Power cut and then close the industry. Now, if same mistake is done by a residential big complex, what is law says for me? Power cut and close it. Now, can you cut the power of a multi-story building and implement Water Act? Never. Because 1 minute power cut is gone. Life comes to standstill. So that is not the solution. But now, both Water Act and Air Act, when they were promulgated, that time, in fact, industry was the major focus point. So that is why, in spite of boards, industry having ZLD, industries having ambient air quality measures, everything, still results are not as expected against the activity that we do. That is because all our regulatory roles, responsibilities are directed towards that 20%. Okay. Now other 80% of the problem, which is of recent one, is not addressed as seriously as that board is addressing that 20%. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. And since this talk also being attended by various young researchers, since you also initiated, KSPCB has initiated many hackathons, many initiatives in terms of providing, computation for the young researchers. Do you have any suggestions to inspire the young researchers to work addressing this, particularly the air quality issues in the urban areas?
Okay. See, simple message here is pollution is the most googled maybe term nowadays. Environment conservation is on the lips of any policymaker, everybody. But then the real truth is the passion with which we speak, the passion with which we project towards the cause of environment and pollution prevention. When it comes to actions, we don't see so much of action from the people who are responsible for actually implementing this. I hear even we can even take blame on industry as well as the urban local bodies. Now when it comes to an industry, yes, the effort, the technology that they put before to prevent or to protect their brand value. Okay, we see here and there. Some big brand car, they recalled all their 1 million cars to replace battery. There, they didn't think about money. They didn't think about cost. They didn't even think about that. They only thought about brand value. You know, even if my company is doomed, but my brand value should not be compromised. So that is the attitude of industries. Well, very good. But then, when it comes to similar measure on pollution prevention control equipments, we don't see, you know, that many a times these big industries, they hide behind the other, they outsource. Sometimes I go to an industry and then see they are all pura. Whole industry is air conditioned. Their monitoring systems are on big system laptop. If you want to see the temperature of that chute, they will show. They will, what is the you can see anything and everything in there. You know, the air quality there is much better than outside. The water table in their premises is much better than on outside. But they have become green. They have outsourced all those activities to X, Y, Z. Okay, where there is utter disregard for pollution prevention control kind of a thing. So now the dirty part is outsourced, and you project you are a green industry. So we have come to that scale. So we have to take vicarious liability. I'm sure very soon this vicarious liability principle will start applying to industries where you may be clean, but then the outsourced vendor that you are using for your this one, whether he is green. Okay, have you taken those measures to ensure that he is compliant? So vicarious liability principles definitely are going to come sooner or later on these industries. Okay, this is one. When it comes to young people, the issues of this pollution should become day-to-day discussion points in public. Okay, we have sufficient. Otherwise, you see, where we only hear about COP21 summit, World Earth Summit. So the issues of pollution and their nature are discussed at the UNO, WHO, at that international forums. But those things are not actually being discussed in public debate. So today, next maybe in Karnataka election is there. Bangalore pollution should become election agenda. Lake pollution in Bangalore should become election agenda. Okay, it should not. The agenda should not just restricted to WHO and then Earth Summit. Unless otherwise, these issues become election agenda for which the young generation, which we are thinking is. So the academic outputs, these things, they should get into public domain more and more. Okay, only then, okay, the objectives that we are looking will be useful. Otherwise, everybody talks about environment very nicely, but when it comes to implementation, you don't see it. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiration and insightful thought on this, the various challenges urban areas are facing, particularly in addressing the air quality. Now, I'll thank you very much on behalf of IIT Madras. We would like to thank you. Dr. Madhusudan, can you summarize and thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. It is nice to see that Professor Srinivasalu is there at Karnataka State Pollution Control Board headquarters. Yeah, this lecture series is the first of its kind in India. We started this lecture series in October 2020. Without any break, we are happy to organize this lecture series, and today we completed the 21st lecture. We are thankful to all eminent speakers participated, and our speaker was Dr. Srinivasalu IFS, Member Secretary, Karnataka State Pollution Control Board. He started his discussion with the note that why the public is not taking the issue of air pollution as a serious matter. As a seasoned professor, he explained the sources of air pollution, health effects, and how it affects the common man. Member Secretary further explained the NCAP, the targets, and the details of non-attainment cities in Karnataka. the involvement of stakeholders, the need of interdepartment cooperation, sensitizing each one to work towards the common goal, and the implementation of action plans were discussed in details. The discussion further moved on to the infrastructure State Pollution Control Board is having in monitoring and how the data is being analyzed and disseminated to the public. The action plan for various stakeholders, the issues related to emission inventory, challenges in preparing the apportionment studies, computing the emission load share from different sources were discussed. In details, he discussed about the study results of Bengaluru report, the different action plans, action points for each line department were illustrated and explained the need of such collective cooperation. He emphasized. He also was hopeful that IIT Madras will definitely complete the studies in 3 cities, incorporating all the issues related. We assure you, sir, that we will take up this issue challengingly and complete our task according to the needs of the pollution control departments. I take the question answer session were quite interesting, and he emphasized the involvement of people in pollution control and also making pollution as an electoral issue for getting a better result. I take this opportunity to thank all participations, including the retired officials from Central Pollution Control Boards, MOEF, SPCBs, and industrialists, professors from various institutions, the serving officials of CPCB, SPCBs, and also I thank especially the Karnataka State Pollution Control Board officials, representatives from urban local bodies, the researchers, and the students. I thank the CEPHA network, AQML Association, Indian International Conference on Air Quality, and overall our mentor and our guide, Professor Srinivasalu. I also take the opportunity to thank the team behind the air quality lecture series, Gopika, Swaroop, Ashwin, and others. Thank you once again for listening to our 21st AQML lecture series. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Masood.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.